Welcome into News Nation. Now I am Aaron Nolan. On your screen, you can see it. We're talking about wrestling here at News Nation. WrestleMania, the big event, just a few days away, coming your way April 10th and 11th. WWE Superstar Drew McIntyre joins us live here on News Nation. Drew, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, so you are known as the Scottish Warrior. For you, when you see WrestleMania, and you participated in this last year, but you are one of the big events coming up next Saturday and Sunday, what is your expectation for the event, and how excited are you?
I'm beyond excited for WrestleMania. It has been a really wild year for everybody. Our WrestleMania last year was in front of nobody. You know, we put WrestleMania on from our performance center. Every other sport had shut down, aside WWE. We gave the world an escape, some original content, and I actually won the WWE title in the last match. It was a great moment. Even though the fans weren't there, you know, the feedback was so positive, unbelievable. 14 million social media interactions over 2 days, up 60% the year prior, a lot of smiles and a lot of faces. Fast forward a year later, it's unbelievable that I'm once again competing for the WWE title. And our fans are finally going to be back, and they're beyond excited. I see the social media interaction. I see them fired up about it, but no one's more fired up than the WWE Superstars. Those 25,000 fans are going to sound like 400,000 fans in Raymond James Stadium at WrestleMania.
Can you compare the virtual event and what you guys have been putting on week after week, and the big pay-per-view events that is virtually, when you've got the screens behind you, compared to those fans that are screaming your name, that are excited about the performance for the sport inside the ring? Is there a comparison?
There is no comparison, but the Thunderdome's been unbelievable. You know, just to give everyone watching something more palatable, what you expect from WWE, all the lights, the lasers, the fans there virtually, us as superstars, feeling the fans through the speakers, you know, doing what we can do during these times. The Thunderdome's been amazing. But in the end, there's nothing like the live WWE fans. I can only compare them to European soccer fans. I've been to baseball games, American football games, basketball games. If you're sitting in the crowd at one of those games and stand up and start shouting, everyone kind of looks at you like, what's wrong with you? Sit down. If you're at a European soccer match and you're not standing up, shouting, going crazy, then there's something wrong with you, everyone feels like. And that's the same with WWE. Our fans are on our feet the whole time. They're shouting for their favorites. They're booing the bad guys. They're getting into it. They absolutely love it. And they have so much pent-up reaction they're going to unleash over WrestleMania. And if you're a fan, you know already. If you're not a fan, I suggest checking out WrestleMania. You're going to become a fan, not only as a spectacle for the youngest kid to the oldest adult. Those fans in there, that atmosphere in there is going to give you a visual that, wow, we're getting closer, getting back to normal, and that's going to be really cool for everybody.
I want to get to that championship bout here in just a few moments, but first, Drew, let's talk about what is happening in the world and how, as an athlete, you've had to adjust what you were doing. And I know you're one of the superstars that's featured in the vaccine education for the coronavirus. How important is that in what you're doing, that you're still able to work, but you're also telling everyone be safe and get this vaccine?
Yeah, I'm so glad we're part of a PSA campaign to tell everybody, just please get your vaccines. Like, this is how we're going to get back to normal. When you're eligible, please get vaccinated. I actually caught COVID myself, had the chance to talk about it on the show and tell my story. I live like a hermit. I'm in my house. I work at my garage. I go to work. I follow social distancing guidelines. I wear my mask all the time, and I still got it. And I want to tell everybody my story about how easy it is to catch. If we all work together, we follow these guidelines, we get vaccinated, we're going to get back to normal. We're going to have to be able to be around our family and friends once again. More importantly, everyone's going to be healthy. I've not seen my family in Scotland for over a year. I would love to see them again.
What was COVID like for you, a professional athlete who is in peak physical performance? You are right where you should be physically. What was COVID like for you?
I mean, I got lucky in regards to the symptoms. It's not great, but I got lucky in the grand scheme of things. You know, feeling a little run down and, you know, losing the sense of smell and the likes. And just, I feel so fortunate that WWE as a company, how we've approached this whole situation. You know, we've been performing throughout this entire pandemic to keep everyone entertained, but safety has been absolute top of the list. And they caught it before I was able to be around my colleagues and pass it on to one of them. They could perhaps pass it on to high-risk family members. So I'm very proud of WWE, how we've treated this whole situation with safety first.
All right, so let's talk about your book. You've got a brand new book coming out.
Oh, yes.
Are you excited about now not only being known as a professional athlete, a WWE superstar, but I can also say author Drew McIntyre?
It's crazy. It's literally crazy. My dream was to be in WWE, be WWE champion. And the fact that I get to live these dreams, wrestle at WrestleMania coming up for the WWE championship, have a book coming out. I used to read the books when I was a kid, like Mick Foley's book, The Rock's book. Now, as an adult, Drew McIntyre's book. And, it was important to me. This wasn't just a book about, my wrestling story, which is in there, but to tell my real story. I've had a lot of ups and downs in my life, personally and professionally. When it comes to being fired and having to look at at 29 from WWE after being signed at 21, having to look at myself, understand it was on me. And if I wanted my dream to work out, I'd have to give it everything I had. And from the day I was fired from WWE at 29, I worked my butt off, worked my way back to the company and to the top of the company to get the top championship. But outside the ring, a lot of personal things going on as well. So I had to grow up a lot as a man. And I hope that inspires people out there. I know people are having some tough times, especially during these times. It doesn't seem that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And hopefully people checking out the book see through my story that, if you keep sight of the goal, block out the negativity, you're accountable to the person in the mirror, and you surround yourself with a good support system, you can do literally anything.
It's called A Chosen Destiny, My Story. It comes out May the 4th. We were chatting with Drew McIntyre here on NewsNation. Now, May
the 4th. Oh, wow. I never knew that. May the 4th be with you.
Wait,
fabulous day.
You're the author. How can you not know when your book comes out, my man?
Well, I'm aware of the UK release date, so we're focused on that first, and then the American release date was coming next. And it's on May the 4th. I'm never going to forget it now. You just gave me the exclusive right now. May the 4th be with you. I'm going to be tweeting that right after this interview.
Well, as long as you tag me in the tweet, I'll let you use it. How about that?
Appreciate that, buddy. I will do.
Hey, one thing that as I did research for chatting with you today, Drew, is that you're focused on giving back to the community. There's an amazing article about you, I believe it was in the USA Today or Sports Illustrated, about Special Olympic athletes. Why are you taking the opportunity as a professional athlete to also inspire kiddos?
This is the part of my job I love the most, and the opportunity to live my dream, but use that position to make a difference to others. And my relationship with Special Olympics is fantastic. I love speaking to the athletes, working with the athletes. If I can inspire them, that's one thing that's cool when I hear that all the time. But trust me, they inspire me 1,000 times more than I inspire them. They're so inspirational with their work ethic. And I say I've overcome things, like they're just a different level. And when I get the chance to, especially during these difficult times, do virtual hospital visits, speak to kids in September during Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, see how positive they are. You leave with a whole different perspective. Trust me, when you speak to some of these kids. Or a tribute to the troops. We do a big show every year for our troops. Generally on one of the bases. Wasn't possible this year, so we did it virtually in our Thunderdome, had the troops all in the Thunderdome, met with them during the week, did virtual appearances, had the chance to hear their story and understand it. They were struggling a little bit mentally during these times, and the show was really making a difference to them. So any way I can make a difference outside of the ring, that is most important to me over everything else, including my titles.
As a dad, Drew, thank you for doing that. We appreciate it.
No, trust me, it's beyond my pleasure.
All right, so let's talk quickly about the WWE. I was tasked with not only the bosses here in this room, but also my corporate bosses of finding a good story about Vince McMahon. What is one thing that we don't know about this man that maybe the entire world should? And I encourage you here to elaborate and tell things you're not supposed to tell.
I feel like the world kind of have an idea of what Vince is like. He's just the most unbelievably driven man in the world. You have a boss like that, you've got some high standards to live up to. He works all the time. He's in the gym to this day. He sent me a clip recently, I believe it was released on the internet, of him in the gym doing a belt squat with over 1,000 pounds. He's 75 years old. He's squatting over 1,000 pounds. I can't do that. He's absolutely unbelievable when it comes to his drive, his work ethic, the vision he has for the future. Sometimes you don't see it yourself when he's trying to explain it to you. Then it materializes. He's seen the WWE Network before it was a thing. He's seen the company going public years before it was a thing. And he predicted Drew McIntyre world champion 11 years before it happened. The man is a freaking sorcerer.
A sorcerer. I don't think we've heard Mr. McMahon called a sorcerer yet, but well done on that one. As we wrap up here, only a couple minutes left with WWE Superstar Drew McIntyre. Let's talk about what's going to happen next Saturday, next Sunday with your bout. Bobby Lashley kind of stoked the fire this week already. Are you excited to get that chance to take back that championship? And yes. This is maybe one of the dumbest questions I've ever asked a professional athlete. Are you nervous about it?
I'm not nervous about the match. I'm excited about the match. I'm, trying to prepare myself for the fans being there and walking out and seeing them for the first time. That's the only thing I know is going to, take me out of my zone for a second, because I'm going to be overwhelmed with emotion having them back in the building and hearing them once again. So I'm preparing myself and a little nervous about that aspect. When it comes to Lashley, I'm not nervous. This is somebody who's the highest level athlete you can imagine. He's big, he's strong, he's a high level MMA fighter. Check out his record in Bellator. The man is dangerous. And he's had a very similar story to myself. As a young man, he was supposed to be top of WWE, didn't quite work out, much like me. We both had to leave the company to find ourselves. We fought a few times on a smaller stage outside the company, came back to WWE. We both rose the ranks. Obviously, I got to the title a little bit quicker. Bobby finally found himself, screwed me out of the title. He didn't win the title off me. Nonetheless, I digress. Now we're both in that main event spot after such unique journeys and hard journeys. And we're going to put on a performance people are going to remember, a true heavyweight clash. We're going to beat the crap out of each other. And in the end, my big foot is going straight into his face. 1, 2, 3, title back to McIntyre.
Going to beat the crap out of each other. It seems like wrestling has a lot more emotion than many people who haven't sampled the sport really realize. And I'm going to point to the images of you on our screen. When you took that belt, you had raw emotion that was about to come out. When you had that championship, you went through the ups and the downs in that bout. If someone who hasn't watched any WWE event, what would you tell them about the emotion, the entanglement that you athletes, men and women, have each and every night?
Yeah, that's what we're all about. We're all about, finding what's real to us in that match, in that moment, and expressing it to the fans, because if it's not real to us, it's not real to them. And that's what I'm all about. I think if you haven't given WWE a chance, give us a chance. We've got something for everybody, the youngest kid to oldest adult. It's not just for men. 40% of our audience are females. And we will hook you with something. Something will grab at your heartstrings. They'll make you feel a certain way, and you won't be able to help yourself but to keep watching. Like, you talk about that moment where I won the title. That was hard not to break down. When I won that title and I had it in my hands, after thinking about my lifelong journey, not just my 20-year wrestling career, the sacrifices that, never mind my sacrifices and all the years put in, but my family in Scotland, I've been away from so many years. My wife, who stood by my side the whole time, that plays through your head, and all the fans that supported me getting to that moment. That's all real. And no matter what you think about wrestling, that moment when you reach the top of your industry where there can only be one champion and you're chosen as that one person, that is a very real moment for everyone in our industry. And hopefully it came across the screen as you spoke about there. But trust me, you check out this WrestleMania, you're going to feel a whole lot of feelings. And above all else, you're going to see, wow, we're getting back to normal. Look at that WWE crowd. In the future, I want to be part of that WWE crowd.
I'm sure your guys are rapping me right now, so one last quick question. The rapper Bad Bunny is going to be a part of WrestleMania. We've seen Tyson Fury, who is a boxer, who got into the ring. What is the one celebrity, whether it's because you don't like him or maybe because you think it would be a blast, that you would want to get into the ring and either wrestle with or wrestle against?
Ooh. I'm excited for Bad Bunny's match. I'll say that first of all. He's put in the work. He really loves this. He's been there week in, week out. He doesn't have to be. He's going to shock a lot of people at WrestleMania with his match with The Miz. Tyson Fury and I have a bit of a back and forth going on social media for the past year. We're going to fight eventually. But if I was going to pick somebody new, it's got to be McGregor. It seems like he's winding down in UFC. He's from my side of the world. He's got a big mouth on him. He gets it from an entertaining perspective. He's also, quick with the hands. So I could see McGregor stepping into WWE. He can fight McIntyre if he wants. Realistically, he's the size of my left calf, so it might not be very fair. But nonetheless, he'd draw some big numbers.
I have a feeling he'll bring some proper number 12 with him if that happens there, Drew.
Yeah, I'll be drinking out.
Drew McIntyre, we appreciate your time. I hope to see this match of you kicking the crap out of each other at WrestleMania next weekend.
We're gonna. Make sure you check it out. And everyone out there, I assure you, this is the WWE show to watch. If you're a lapsed fan, a new fan, check it out. We'll hook you for life.
Drew McIntyre, we appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, WWE Superstar Drew McIntyre talking about a lot of things. And I think that was what was really interesting about all of this was how he talked about the reality of COVID and how that has affected his sport. But not only that, he talked about the emotion that wrestling is there. A lot of people who don't watch wrestling may think it's just brute strength, right? It's just a bunch of guys as he said, knocking the crap out of each other. But there is emotional entanglement. So it should be fun to watch coming up on WrestleMania. That is coming your way April the 10th and the 11th. Hey, we can do a lot of different things here at NewsNation. We can even talk about wrestling. But if you want more on NewsNation and you don't know about us, make sure you check out our website. It is newsnationnow.com. We have a national newscast that gets started at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock Central with Early Edition. Check it out on NewsNation.